The world was a furnace of red sand and cruel light. Anya, once a xenoecologist of the Seventh Guild, was now a broken ornament upon the dunes. The Gethran scavengers had taken her ship, her data, her crew. As punishment for her resistance, they had employed an ancient, brutal method. They had dug a pit, placed her in it, and packed the coarse, radiant sand around her body with ritualistic care. Now only her head remained above the surface, a desiccated fruit offered to the twin suns. Buried to her neck in the sand, she closed her eyes to die. The physics of it were simple. The suns would bake her. The nocturnal chill would freeze her. Thirst was already a distant memory, her body too parched to crave. She had cried until her tears were salt stains. She had raged until her voice was a whisper. Now there was only the waiting. She let her head sag forward. The wide-brimmed hat her captors had mockingly left her, providing a small circle of shade. The end would be a slow suffocation, as her chest could no longer expand against the immense pressure. She welcomed it. A sound cut through the dead air. Not the skitter of a carrion beetle, or the hiss of the wind. It was a voice. Low, guttural, utterly foreign in its cadence, yet unmistakably linguistic. Hey, can you hear me? Anya's eyes snapped open. Before her, blotting out one of the suns, was a silhouette. It was bipedal, clad in a rugged, sand-colored environment suit, its visor reflecting her own haggard face back at her. The voice was human, a species she knew only from guild bulletins. Chaotic, unpredictable, prone to strange generosities and stranger violence. They were not supposed to be in this sector. She tried to speak, but her tongue was a lump of clay. A faint croak emerged. "Okay," the human said, its tone shifting to a calm, measured cadence. "Okay, don't try to talk. Just blink once for yes, twice for no. Are you injured? Beyond this?" Anya blinked once. The human knelt, its movements efficient and devoid of panic. "My name is Leo," it said, the name simple and solid. "I'm with an independent survey team. We picked up a distorted distress signal, guild frequency. Took us a while to find the source." He, for the voice sounded male, began to dig. Not around her head, but several feet away, his gloved hands moving with careful speed. He unearthed a large, flat pack and opened it, pulling out a thin, flexible tube. "I'm going to give you some water. It's going to be a trickle. Just let it happen." He placed the end of the tube gently against her lips. A cool siphon of liquid touched her tongue. It was not water. It was too viscous, too rich with electrolytes and nutrients. It was life itself, flowing into her. She felt her body, a dead weight, scream in sudden, agonizing need. She wanted to gulp, but the tube only allowed a slow, steady feed. Leo watched her closely. "Slow," he murmured. "Too fast, and you'll shock your system. We have time." After a minute, he withdrew the tube. "Now the hard part," he said. "The sand is compacted. If I dig it out from the top, the hole could collapse. I need to go in from the side. It's going to be disorienting. I need you to trust me." Anya blinked once. What choice was there? Leo moved behind her field of vision. She heard the scratch of a small tool, not a shovel, but something like a wide, flat trowel. The sound was methodical, rhythmic. The sand behind her head began to shift. She felt a terrifying pressure change, a slight loosening around her upper back. "The Gethran," Leo said as he worked, his voice a steady anchor. "They do this." A statement. Means they've been here, they've taken what they want, and they leave a message. Guild usually writes off anyone they capture. Says rescue is too high risk against their patrols. He was not Guild. The realization seeped into Anya's parched mind. He was human, acting alone. The digging continued for what felt like hours. The suns climbed, and Leo erected a small reflective canopy over her head. He gave her more of the nutrient fluid. He talked a quiet monologue about the mineral composition of the dunes, the odd weather patterns, the reading he'd gotten from her crashed ship's beacon. His voice was a lifeline, preventing her from sinking into terminal shock. Then the world lurched. The sand constricting her chest suddenly fell away. A firm grip wrapped under her arms. "On 3, Leo said, his voice strained. 1, 2, 3. He pulled. Anya felt as if her skin was being peeled off. The sand fought to keep her, scraping and burning. With a final, sucking gasp, the dune released her. She slid free, a puppet with cut strings, into Leo's arms. He laid her on a spread-out thermal blanket. Her body was a map of agony, every muscle, every joint screamed from the long immobility and pressure. Leo did not try to make her stand. He wiped the sand from her face with a damp cloth, then began a gentle, professional assessment, checking circulation in her limbs. "Circulation is returning. You are very lucky." Another hour and the tissue damage might have been permanent. He wrapped her in the blanket and lifted her with an easy strength. He carried her across the dunes to a vehicle, not a sleek gilt skimmer, but a chunky, 6-wheeled rover that looked like a mechanical insect. He placed her in the passenger compartment, which was cramped and full of equipment, but blissfully cool dot as the rover hummed to life and began navigating the sea of sand. Anya found her voice. It was a rasp. "Why?" Leo glanced at her, his eyes a calm gray through the visor he had now retracted. He had a plain, weathered face, unremarkable, except for its focused serenity. The signal was there. "You were alive. The guild would not have come," she managed. "I am not the guild," he said simply at his base camp, a modular habitat half buried in a rock outcropping. His story unfolded. He was a solitary prospector, scanning for rare isotopic signatures. His team was an AI named Mo. The human survey team had been a fiction to avoid alarming her. He had been alone for 8 standard months. For days, Anya recovered. The nutrient gel gave way to real food. Her strength returned in increments. Leo was a quiet presence, giving her space but always aware of her needs. He shared his findings, showed her how his equipment could repurpose guild data cores, even the damaged one she had smuggled from her wreck. One evening, under a sky strewn with alien stars, she asked the real question. "You risked your life. The Gethrin could have returned. For a stranger. For a Xeno. Why?" Leo poked the small heating unit with a stick. "My people have a saying," he said. "Leave no one behind. It started in armies, I think. But it's deeper than that. It means a person is not a thing to be left in the sand. It means a cry in the dark demands an answer. The universe is big and cold and very quiet. When you hear a voice, you answer. It's what makes us human." Anya considered this. The guild operated on cost-benefit analysis and political gain. The Gethrin on territorial assertion and cruelty. This human operated on a principle. It was illogical, powerful, and profoundly alien. "You are not what the bulletins say," she stated. He smiled a little. "The bulletins probably say we're loud, messy, and sentimental. That part is true. The rest is just simplified." When she was strong enough, Leo helped her assemble a new beacon from salvaged parts. It's a tight-band pulse. Goes further than standard guild issue. Your people will find you. And you? She asked, a strange tightness in her throat that had nothing to do with her ordeal. "I have a few more ridges to scan," he said. "I'll stay until they come. Then I'll move on." The day the guild shuttle descended in a cloud of dust, Leo stood beside her at the edge of the camp. The shuttle was pristine, white, and official. 2 guild officers emerged, their expressions a mix of surprise and bureaucratic appraisal. Anya turned to Leo. The words of her people, formal and full of debt, felt inadequate. Instead, she reached out and placed her hand, now strong again, on his arm. "You answered," she said. He placed his hand over hers. A simple, solid gesture. Someone always should. As she walked toward the waiting officers, she did not feel like a rescued victim. She felt like an emissary. They would debrief her, file a report on the Gethran activity, and list her survival as a fortunate anomaly. They would not understand the man in the sand-colored suit who acted on a principle of answered cries. On the shuttle ramp, she looked back. Leo stood by his rugged rover, a lone figure against the endless red. He raised a hand in farewell, not a wave of regret, but a simple acknowledgment dot as the shuttle climbed. The desert shrank into a tapestry of rust and shadow. Anya leaned back, not looking at the confused guild officers, but at the receding world below. She had been buried in the sand, a finished story. Then a human voice had spoken, not with grandeur, but with simple, decisive presence. And in answering it, he had not just pulled her from the ground. He had reminded this silent, burning universe that within its vast indifference, a single act of stubborn kindness could rewrite an ending. She closed her eyes, not to die, but to remember the sound.